Hey, this is Heidi with Sapling Home Life. When we first bought our house, we planned to renovate it slowly over time, just as we could afford little projects here and there. And this just happens to be one of those little projects. My husband noticed that our sink was leaking, and he told me that we might have to get a new sink. And so right away, I started looking for a sink that I would actually like and one that I wanted to keep in our house instead of just something to replace what we currently had. If you like the poles that are on your drawers or your cabinets, then make sure that you screw the hardware into it, and then you can set it aside and you won't lose all those little hardware pieces. That comes in really handy later. I wasn't sure if I would continue to use these poles or not, and so I wanted to save them all together. I kind of like them. They're old and vintagey looking, but I don't know. We'll see. So the first thing we had to do was clean out and take care of the old cabinet. So we ripped it all apart, and we wanted to keep the plumbing there, but we had no idea what was going to be under the cabinet or behind it. So it was kind of an exciting adventure to reveal what was under there. We did find some old things. We found some shoe polish, and that was kind of interesting. I have no idea exactly when that's from, but it looked pretty old, so we did not open it. And we also found a cute little thank you card. When we removed the bottom of the cabinet, we did find the hardwood and then the linoleum, and we believe the hardwood goes across the whole floor, but there's this layer of plywood under the linoleum that is on the very top. So it goes hardwood, linoleum, plywood, linoleum. So we're gonna have to decide in the future if we're gonna wanna just redo the floors and put a whole new floor over it, or if we're gonna wanna tear out the subfloor that's over the hardwood floor. Now, when we removed our cabinet, we just picked it up over the plumbing and took it right outside of our door. And my husband actually did the dishes with our garden hose outside, and it was hilarious. I had to get a video of him doing dishes out in front of our driveway. Our neighbors had to think that we were absolutely nuts. But we had some good laughs with our neighbors, and then we were able to do dishes and continue our project. Okay, so this paneling was actually really, really gross, and it was even nastier behind the cabinet because you couldn't get back there to wash it at all. So when we took that off, I was so happy to see it go, because that was what I was looking at every time I was doing dishes, and it was just disintegrating and nasty. So we removed the drywall that was there and had to put in some bracing because the sink is really heavy. So we added some new drywall, and then we tried to match the wood paneling in the rest of the kitchen as best we could with this wood paneling. We plan someday to redo our whole kitchen, but we wanted a place to put this sink where we could use it until we do that bigger kitchen renovation project. I strongly suggest getting one of these painter's tools because this thing is awesome. It has an edge for scraping. You can open and close your can with the edge, and we use this tool all the time. Just so you know what we're using, I went to just to Home Depot and I got this Behr. It's supposed to be a 1 coat. So we're gonna test that out, especially on this area right here where it's gonna go from dark to light. I'm gonna give it some grace because it's a color match, so there might be a slight difference. You might be able to tell the difference in paint color, but we're gonna test out and see if it truly is a 1 coat paint. So once that dries, we will see if it
Why are we gonna be
matches.
painting right there? Why right there, Mom?
So when this paint dried, it did end up color matching really well, which I was really surprised because I brought this tiny piece of molding that had like a few drips of this paint on it. And I actually was really impressed with the color matching. I thought it was going to be a little bit off, and I honestly could not tell a difference between where the new paint started and the old paint ended. Also, if you ever are doing a painting project and you have little kids, give them a cup of water and a paintbrush and let them paint. It was actually the most helpful thing, and my daughter was painting whatever she liked for a long time, and I was surprised how long it occupied her. And even my older kids liked painting with water and asked to do it a few days later. So pro tip, give your kids a cup of water and a paintbrush and let them paint with water. I did let my older kids help me paint for a little bit, but they quickly got bored with that, and I ended up finishing and touching up places they missed. And that's a good opportunity to just teach your kids, and I know it can be stressful, but this project was a good project to do that with. When it was almost time to put the sink in the kitchen, we put the hardware on the sink, or the faucet, and that was just a faucet that I got on Amazon. We did have to get some neighbors to help us move the sink because it was so heavy, and you'll see here in a second, as we did that, of course, with an old house, nothing is square, nothing is flat, nothing is level. So our wall ended up being bowed a little bit, and we had to shim the brackets that hold the sink on. So it was a little bit of an ordeal. If you've ever done home projects, you know that there's always little hiccups here and there and things that can go wrong or go unexpectedly. So we just set it down and found some shims and fixed it, and then in about 30 minutes we were able to get the sink on. I'm really thankful for my husband doing this project for me and with me. We are not the best at doing home projects together, but he puts up with a lot of my ideas, and I'm thankful for that. If you're married and you're going to do home projects, I strongly recommend having a conversation about your expectations, your budget, your timeline, and just overall what you're expecting from home projects, because it can be very stressful for a marriage. Even though we had our moments in this project, overall we ended up both liking the outcome, and we were really thankful for the sink that we did find. One of the really cool things about this sink was it did come with the original cast iron legs. And so I did debate on whether or not to cover them or to leave them exposed. And I did a little bit of polling on Instagram and talked to some friends. And I did decide for now that I would put a curtain on. And I can always remove it if I want to. But the pipes were just pretty ugly. They were kind of hodgepodgey. And the floor isn't finished under the sink either. So I did end up making a curtain to go around the edge of the sink. We did get our sink up and running. It probably took us about a week, I think, to do the whole thing, and then it took me a little bit longer to make the curtain, but it was so nice to be able to do my dishes and not have to look at that crumbling paneling that was just behind the sink falling apart. Thanks for watching this video, and please enjoy these before and after shots of our kitchen sink.